everybody. Hope you're all having a great day. It's really nice here today, probably about 87 degrees. Winds died down, thank goodness. It'll probably pick up later, it always does. But today I wanted to do a review of the Noveske pistol that I made. I know I kind of did a quick review of this whenever I did the bag video, but I've done some upgrade to it since then, and I wanted to kind of show y'all what I've done. So you can see here, it is unloaded. So just an overview of the pistol here. It is a Noveske pistol. I did order the lower. Let's see here. As you can see here, it is Noveske. I just want to show you all that. I did order this lower from Bud's Gun Shop. They don't carry these in Sevierville, so I had to actually order it online and have it shipped to their store. And I went and picked that up, and that's what I based the pistol off of when I built it. So the upper is actually branded Noveske 2, if you can see that right there, but it is actually made by Volter. From what I read online, these are very, very durable uppers, or actually upper receiver. I didn't order this as a complete upper, I actually built it also, but these are supposed to be really, really tough uppers, and so I went with the Volter on that. So when I bought that, I also ordered from Noveske. I ordered most of this stuff from them. They were, you know, fairly competitive, so a lot of this stuff I couldn't find online, so I actually had to order it from them. I ordered the 7.5-inch barrel. This barrel is not cheap by no means, but it's supposed to be a very good barrel. And on the muzzle end here, actually, let me tell you a story. The first thing I put on this was a Bravo Company comp. I think it was a Mod Zero comp. And when I brought this outside here to sight it in, I forgot to put on hearing protection. I had it on top of my head, but I guess I was just so excited about shooting the pistol here that I forgot to pull it down. And when I fired the first round, it was so loud with that comp on it and that 7.5-inch barrel that I actually thought the gun had blew up. I looked down at my hand to see if all my fingers were still there. Fortunately, the gun had not blown up. It was just so loud that I thought it did. I don't know what decibel water is, but when I would take a shower, I couldn't hear the water running and hitting the bottom of the shower for like 3 or 4 days. It actually freaked me out pretty bad because I thought I did some really, really major permanent hearing damage to my ears. But luckily, most of that went away, so we're good to go now. So instead of the muzzle brake, I actually put on this little shorty Vortex comp. It's a real short Vortex. Most of them are a little longer. I actually had to order this from Spike's Tactical. I couldn't find it anywhere else. They were the only people that actually had this flash hider in stock. I really like the Vortex flash hiders. I have one on my AR SBR, and it pretty much eliminates all flash that comes out of these pistols, and in this instance. But the SBR, it also eliminated as well. So that's the barrel. Like I said, it is a real Noveske barrel. The next thing I want to show you is the handguard. This is a 7-inch handguard, I think it is. It is made by Noveske also. I will tell you that this is the only piece on this gun that is the chainsaw. If you want to build a Noveske and you want a little bit of a price break, you can buy the chainsaw, is what they call it, pieces. And it's that they're blemished a little bit. I can't tell that there's a blemish on this anywhere other than where I was like clamping on it, stuff clamped on it, stuff like that. That's all my fault, the blemish in the material, the finish, I mean. But just looking at it, I couldn't tell anything other than it had a chainsaw on it right there. Now that's the only piece I used that was the chainsaw, and I don't know if this had anything to do with it or not, but when I put this barrel nut on here, I could not get that barrel nut to line up with these 6 screws that you had to put in. So I know you can reverse the barrel nut and there's threads on both sides, so if you can't get one side lined up, you're supposed to be able to turn it over and get the other side, but that didn't work either. So I actually had to send that barrel nut back to Noveske, and they sent me a new barrel nut. Now, I had to put a lot of torque on this barrel nut, even with the new one, to get it to line up. I was on the verge of actually being uncomfortable with it. You know, if I'd had to go any more, I'd have probably sent it back to and asked for another one. But as it was, I was okay with it. It is tight. I will say that, but I did not go over torque spec. So we're still good, but we're on the upper end of torque spec with this. And it all lined up, and as you can see here, this is all smooth. It lined up perfectly whenever I did that. So I do like this this key mod. I guess it is a type of key mod rail here. And because you can see right here, it actually has the keys in it. And it actually takes the Bravo company key mod rail covers, which is what I do have on this. The little rail covers are made from Bravo company. I like these. It adds a little traction to it. Plus it kind of keeps the heat off your hands when you're using them. So I do like those little rail covers. I would like to try some rail scales, but I've not ordered any of those yet. And in the future, I may try those. But for this little pistol, I wanted to keep it as light as possible. And these are pretty light. They don't weigh hardly anything. So onto the light. I have an Ariska light body here with an Ariska or Arisaka mount, maybe an Arisaka, maybe how you pronounce that, mount and body. This is a one cell body. It's kind of like the Surefire body, but they make one that they say is a little bit more configurable. This is a regular Surefire tail cap on the back with a regular Surefire pressure switch. Now, as you see here, this is a cloud defense mount for this pressure switch. I think this is the best way to mount a pressure switch, in my opinion. It is very solid. It isn't going anywhere. You can actually run the actual wire through the switch and out the side, and it keeps everything really compact and out of the way. And I really like these mounts. They're really easy to install. I actually have an install video back in the channel. If I can remember, I'll link it to the end. A lot of times I forget to do that. If I do forget to do that, it is back in the channel if you want to see how to install this. But I do really like the way this sets up. I usually mount all my tape switches on the top. The only thing I have that my tape switch is not mounted to the top is my Tavor, my X95 Tavor, and I actually had to mount it on the side. So one other thing about this light, I got in the switch before I finished the light, but I do have a Malkoff Devices 300 lumen head on this. I do like Malkoff Devices. I use a lot of their lights, and this head is very bright. I actually did have one of the Streamlight HL rail mount lights on this, and it's 350 lumens, and this light is actually, seems to be, to me, with the naked eye, brighter than the Streamlight. And the Streamlight had like a hint of yellow to it, and this is a more pure white. And I prefer the more pure white to the Streamlight. And this is a lot smaller profile light, and it is a little lighter. You can see how close that is to the rail, the way this is mounted up. And the Streamlight was a bigger profile light. So on this little pistol, I wanted as light as I could get, and also as close to the rail and a small profile as I could get. So this really fit the bill for that. And as you can see here, it does work perfectly. Now, what I use for my sights, I've said this in every video, I always use Troy flip-up sights. They lock up. I don't like flip-up sights that don't lock up. In a time you need it, if your red dot fails, you hit that front sight and it does that, what good is it? I mean, if I can't lock that up and it take a little bit of a beating and not fall back down to the rail, I mean, I'm not saying that like Magpul sights are bad or anything like that. They're great sights, but for me personally, I want my sights to lock in the up position. In the down position, I don't want them locked because I want to be able to flip them up like this. And if my sights accidentally come up, that's no big deal. I can still use my optic with my sights up. But if my optic goes down and my sights also fall, that's a bad situation. I want these to either be up or down, but I want them locked up. So as you can see here, even as close as that is, you can still drop that front mount, or that front switch. It is very close, I ain't gonna lie. You can see right here how close that is, but it does give you just enough with the light mounted right there to be able to drop that front sight. So we go on back to the optic. Aim Point is actually my optic of choice for AR style firearms, whether it be a pistol or a rifle. I trust Aim Point. I really like their battery life. I like EOTech, don't get me wrong. I like how big the field of view is on EOTechs, but the battery life and aim points is just amazing. You can turn this thing on and it'll last 5 years or longer on like settings 7 or 8, and it'll run 5 years continuously without ever shutting off. I've had several EOTechs, some really expensive ones, and a lot of times 4 to 6 hours, those will automatically shut off. At least with the Holosun optics, I do have one of those. You can set them up for motion detected, so if they do shut off and you pick up whatever firearm it's on, it will automatically turn on. I do like that feature as well, but Holosun even has like a 5-year battery life on theirs. Now, I've not tested the Holosun life, and I will tell you this, I do run this optic on like a 9 or a 10, and it will not last 5 years. I lasted about 3.5 years, I think it was, on one battery life on like setting 9 or 10. So, you know, I try to change these out once a year, but I just wanted to see how long this optic would last, and I was thinking it was about 3 years or so, give or take, in there. I don't know exactly, I wasn't writing it down, but I just wanted to get an idea. And I bought the T2s about as soon as they came out, so it was somewhere around 3 years ago or so, I think. And I've had to change the battery one time in that length of time, and now I just do it. I try to do it like on my birthday or Christmas. Pick a holiday that, you know, sticks out, and that way you always remember to do it on that holiday. So back to the charging handle. This is one of the Radiant Arms charging handles, the Raptors, but it is Noveske branded. I don't know why, but when I built this pistol, I just built it all Noveske. I mean, if you're gonna have part of it Noveske, why not have it all Noveske, right? And I even went so far that even the bolt carrier group is Noveske. So when I built it, you know, the parts that like that I could just get branded, I went ahead and did it. And the thing is about this, I don't shoot this pistol a ton. I sight it in and I carry it in a bag. When I go on vacation and stuff like that in my truck, because it is covered under my carry permit because it is a pistol. So, you know, I can legally have this, you know, loaded and everything. It's a pistol, so it's all covered under my carry permit, and I can carry it like that. So it stays in that bag a lot, so it doesn't look like it's got a lot of wear. I put a few hundred rounds through it to make sure it functioned properly, and lubed it back up and cleaned it up, and it's been in the bag just about ever since, I ain't gonna lie. I do need to take this out and shoot it more though. I know 200 or 300 rounds ain't enough to really tell, but if it didn't malfunction too much, you know, it didn't malfunction at all actually, not too much, but it didn't malfunction at all in 200 rounds. So I felt pretty comfortable, and I got it like right before I went on vacation. I finished it up. So, you know, I went out and put the rounds through it and stuck it and cleaned it and stuck it back in the bag and took it with me. A lot of people criticize me for not putting 1,000 rounds or 2,000 rounds through it, but from a lot of my experience with firearms, you know, and your mileage may differ, but if I get 200 rounds and, you know, I've not had any issues, I'm probably not going to have any major issues. Most of the time, if a firearm's going to have problems, you'll have it in the first 200 to 300 rounds, because that's the break-in period. So if you make it through that, normally you're probably okay. I cannot remember what brand this is. I can't remember if I believe it's Strike Industries. It is right here on this side. So I did put a Strike Industries magazine release in it. As you can see on this side, it just has like a little bit of flare. It's got a little groove in it. And I also used a Strike Industry bolt carrier release, mainly because it had this piece down here on the bottom, this wide piece, to actually be able to lock the bolt carrier in if you wanted to actually pull it back and lock the bolt carrier. So I do like that it had the paddle down here at the bottom as well, and this is a little bit oversized at the top. Now on all my AR style firearms, I do use a Badass Ambi Safety, Battle Arms Development safety, and this is no different. I do have the Badass Safety on this. Now I will tell you that you put your safety in from the left side. So on the left side, I wanted the long tang, just like a regular AR's got. And then on the other side, I put the short one, because that's my dominant hand. I didn't want the long piece hitting my trigger finger. So on the long side, I always red Loctite these in. I know I said that in another video, but I want to reiterate it here. I always red Loctite the left side in and blue Loctite the right side, because you can take the right side one off, because blue Loctite isn't permanent, and you can still remove your safety from the firearm even though it's red Loctited. I never want this side to come off ever, so that's why I red Loctite it. So on the bottom, For my trigger guard, I did use a Spikes Tactical. It is aluminum and it has the little spider there. I like that little spider. I hate spiders personally. I don't like them in real life, but I thought the spider was pretty cool on the trigger guard. As for a trigger, I had the Geisley SSA trigger. That is my favorite trigger in any of my AR rifles or pistols, as it may be in this case. I do use Geisley triggers in all of them but my Colt. My Colt has different pin sizes. I try to catch these on sale because they're pretty expensive, but I think you can catch them on sale a lot of times at like Primary Arms, and I'm thinking it's like $150 or $180. Don't quote me on that. I can't remember exactly what it is. They may never have another sale again, but I caught them on sale and I ordered like 5 or 6 at one time and just put them in every AR style firearm that I had. And that's what I put in this one too, because this is, you know, the reason I went with what I did and why I didn't spare any expense with this pistol is because this is probably what I'm gonna have with me if I'm ever in a situation where I need it. Because, you know, a lot of times I know where to go in my town, but if I'm out of state on vacation, I may fall into a bad neighborhood and don't even know it. I have a small town. That's not saying anything that couldn't happen here, but I feel like it's more likely that I'm going to get in a situation in a larger city. So that's why I didn't spare any expense with this, because 9 times out of 10, if I'm ever in a situation like that, this is what's going to be with me. So I wanted to have the best tool for the job that I could possibly get. So now on to the pistol grip. I use ergo grips on all my AR style rifles. The reason being is it just fits my hand well. I like the way it feels. It's got that rubberized coating. I know there's other grips like Magpul, and a lot of people may like them, but this is just personal preference. I'm not saying you should use this one or not use this one, but your pistol grip's gonna come down to personal preference. I've said this before, all my lowers on all my AR style firearms, they're all the same. They all have the same trigger, they have the same safety, and they have the same grip. That way, no matter which one I pick up, I'm familiar totally with what's on it. I don't have a single-sided safety on one, so if I get used to coming back or something on the safety, or I hit it with the other hand, you know, it all feels the same. The triggers, I don't have to relearn the triggers except for my Colt because they have different size pins. I ain't caught them on sale yet. But the triggers all feel the same. I don't have to relearn nothing. So from here down on every single AR style firearm I have is identical the same. So on the back here, you can see that I have a CAC Industries pistol buffer tube and an SB tactical brace. I do like the SB braces. I like this style of the brace the best, which is why I chose this one. They have numerous different braces that you can choose from. So if you don't like this one, they probably have one for your pistol that you'll like better. So that's all personal preference also. So I did use also, I don't know if you can see this, but it's a Noveske branded single point sling mount here. On the pistols, I usually have a single point sling in the bag I carry this in. As most of you probably know if you watch my channel or seen some of the back videos, this does go in a backpack, a sling bag, and I usually keep a single point sling in a sling bag. Now, I do prefer a 2-point sling, but in this instance, I just went ahead and used the single point. One of the last things on this that I'd like to talk about is this Law Tactical folder. I really like this. You can push this button right here and the brace folds over like so, and that is what allows this to fit into a backpack. You can also see here I do have a T2 Spikes Tactical buffer and spring in this. Now, the Law folder, you have to use this special tab right here to make it work with the buffer, because your buffer, you can see here, is actually sitting back pretty far. So you actually have to use, and they supply this when you buy it, this little extension on the back of your bolt carrier group. It just sticks in. There's a couple little O-rings that hold it in place, and that's how it stays in. Now, if you can see right here, there is a little tab that stops your bolt carrier group from coming out the back. So you can turn this upside down, shake it, or whatever you want to, and with this open, this bolt carrier group's not going to come out. Now, Law Tactical advises you not to shoot this with it open. Now, I've seen videos where people have done that, I have never done that. I don't plan on doing that unless I just really have to. But you could possibly fire 1 round with this open. Like I said, I've seen people shoot these numerous times, just testing that out, and I'm not going to do it though. I would shut it to do it. I think I forgot to finish about the aim point. I talked about the battery. I do use a LaRue Tactical QD mount here. So I use those on all my aim point T2s, and I used to have some of them on like my Pro and my Comp M3. My Pro actually came with a mount. Sorry, my Pro came with a mount, and it's the same mount that's on my Comp M4s. So I use the factory aim point mounts with them. I did have a LaRue on my Comp M3, but I sold that optic a while back, and the mount went with it. But I do really like LaRue mounts. So that's pretty much it for the firearm. I went over everything I have on it and everything I put on it. I feel like Noveske makes a good firearm. I'd never owned a Noveske, so when I started thinking about, you know, what kind of pistol would I want to put in this bag, what would I use, Noveske was one of the first things that popped in my mind, just because I'd never owned one. I'd owned Bravo Company, LMT, Colt. I mean, I'd owned a lot of major brands that are really good, but I'd never owned a Noveske, so I went with Noveske. I really like this pistol. I couldn't be happier with it. It fits exactly what I want to do, and I'm really happy with the light after I put it on it. And I actually just put this light on Sunday, I think it was. I swapped it off another SBR I had, and I put it on this pistol, and I really like the weight of it now and the compactness that it gives me with that light. That's about all I've got. If you have any questions about this pistol or anything, please leave them in the comments. Please give this video a big thumbs up. Please like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.